Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundlesssuccess to join today. Let's get you to the next level. We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth. A Russian general killed. Big operations from ICE. Fetterman suggests armed response against Iran, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. A Russian general was killed Friday in a car bombing outside of Moscow, according to Russia's top criminal investigation agency. The investigative committee said that Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalik, a deputy head of the main operational department in the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, was killed by an explosive device placed in his car in Balashikha. The explosive device was rigged with shrapnel, investigative committee spokesperson Svetlana Petrenko said. The perpetrator of the blast is unclear. The attack comes as White House envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Moscow Friday for a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Trump administration is trying to broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky met in Rome ahead of Pope Francis's funeral on Saturday, their first face-to-face discussion since an Oval Office spat in February. White House Communications Director Stephen Chang called the visit a very productive discussion and said details would be released later. Zelensky also spoke positively of the meeting, saying in a social media post, "Good meeting. We discussed a lot one-on-one, hoping for results on everything we covered, protecting lives of our people, full and unconditional ceasefire." The visit came as the U.S. continues its efforts to broker the peace deal. Images of Trump and Zelensky huddling in St. Peter's Basilica for their roughly 15-minute talk went viral. Meanwhile, President Trump took to social media on Saturday while flying home from Pope Francis's funeral to express doubt about Russian President Vladimir Putin's sincerity in pursuing an end to the war. He wrote, "There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas, cities, and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along." He went on to threaten financial repercussions against Russia to get Putin to negotiate in good faith, floating remediation via banking or secondary sanctions. Trump did not place new tariffs on Russia as part of his global reckoning earlier this month. In a groundbreaking joint effort, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Miami, and Florida law enforcement agencies arrested nearly 800 illegal immigrants during the first 4 days of Operation Tidal Wave, a massive multi-agency immigration enforcement crackdown. Some of the ICE arrests from the ongoing operation include a convicted Colombian murderer, alleged MS-13 and 18th Street gang members, and a Russian with an Interpol red notice for manslaughter. More than 100 undocumented immigrants were detained by federal agents in Colorado Springs early Sunday morning during a raid of an illegal underground nightclub, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration. Between 200 and 300 people were inside the club, and 114 of them were living in Colorado illegally, said Stefan Tubbs, a spokesperson for the DEA's Rocky Mountain Division. More than a dozen active-duty military members were also inside the club as patrons or security guards, he said. The raid, which had reportedly been in development for months, started at about 3:45 a.m. Sunday at 296 South Academy Boulevard in Colorado Springs, the state's second largest city and about 70 miles south of Denver. Senator John Fetterman is continuing to advocate for the destruction of Iran's nuclear program. Waste that shit, the lawmaker declared to the Washington Free Beacon. You're never going to be able to negotiate with that kind of regime that has been destabilizing the region for decades already. And now we have an incredible window, I believe, to do that, to strike and destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Years ago, I completely understood why Trump withdrew from the Obama deal. Today, I can't understand why Trump would negotiate with this diseased regime. The negotiations should be comprised of 30,000-pound bombs and the IDF, Fetterman noted, according to the outlet. The IDF is the Israeli Defense Forces. President Trump said he would absolutely sign a bill banning congressional stock trading, saying he was concerned lawmakers could be using insider information for an advantage. There has long been some bipartisan support for legislation that would limit how members of Congress could buy and sell stocks, as their access to classified intelligence and internal knowledge about the progress of lawmaking offers a leg up on others in the market. In 2020, a bipartisan group of senators drew fire for trading healthcare stocks after closed-door briefings on the coronavirus pandemic. A Wisconsin county judge was arrested and charged with 2 felonies by the FBI Friday, accused of helping an illegal immigrant evade arrest by federal agents. According to a 13-page complaint, Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan hid Mexican national Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who faces 3 misdemeanor battery charges, inside the courthouse after his April 18th pretrial conference. She is alleged to have intentionally misdirected federal agents and helped Flores Ruiz exit the building where he was arrested after a brief foot chase. Dugan appeared in federal court Friday without making public comments. Her next court appearance is scheduled for May 15th. Consumer sentiment dropped 8% from March to April amid worries about inflation, according to the University of Michigan's closely watched survey. Though sentiment edged up slightly from an even lower reading earlier in the month, inflation expectations climbed to their highest since 1991 as consumers fret about the potential impact of tariffs. With the trade war raging, Apple is accelerating its plans to pivot its supply chain away from China even faster than planned, and is aiming to move production of all 60-plus million iPhones it sells annually in the U.S. to India by 2026. The tech giant has been building up its production in India for some time, but to meet that goal, it would need to nearly double the number of phones it makes there. Currently, 1 in 5 of the smartphones Apple sells comes from India, while the majority still come from China, according to Bloomberg. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.